Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. Money in the Bank 2022 is in the books. A couple of surprises tonight, some interesting stuff. We've got a new SmackDown Women's Champion in Liv Morgan, who also won Money in the Bank. We got a same-day cash-in from Liv Morgan after a pretty brutal submission-style match with Natalya, Ronda Rousey. Maybe she may take some time off, maybe not, who knows? But she's no longer SmackDown Women's Champion. So that was definitely a high point of tonight's Money in the Bank. Also, up-and-coming heel, chosen one from Vince McMahon, Austin Theory, had a night losing his U.S. title to Lashley and then winning Money in the Bank. Larson.
So first let's talk a little bit more about Liv's win and then cash in. She's new SmackDown Women's Champion, as mentioned. It's great. Liv has worked hard. You can tell she's worked hard to get better, to improve, and she's gotten more opportunities. And now, after actually her story being she comes up short in the huge matches, she wins the huge match, Money in the Bank ladder match, and then cashes in. She's now champion. It felt natural. It felt organic. They took their time. It fits the story. On the other hand, you got Theory winning, which I understand his story is Vince likes him. He loses the U.S. title, gets put in the ladder match by Adam Pearce right before it starts. And as soon as that happened, you pretty much knew he was going to win it. It made sense. It made sense of him. It made sense him being in there and winning it after losing the U.S. title. And I don't know. It's a situation where it feels a bit too soon because I don't feel like Theory has really found that ingredient or unlocked an aspect of his character to add dimension to make him more interesting. For example, when he was in The Way in NXT, he was a heel, but his character was fleshed out. It had layers. He could do comedy, but he could be serious. It's the best work he's done under the WWE umbrella. On main roster, he's just a guy that takes selfies. There's nothing about his main roster character necessarily stands out enough for me to think, oh, yeah, he can cash in on Roman.
I think there are some, I agree with everything you said. I think there are some positives. It's just a bit of a risk. So it's not a
huge risk.
It's not as big. Well, it's not an Otis size risk because Theory has the ingredients to be a main eventer. You just said it. We've seen it. We've seen that he has the potential to be a main eventer. The road they're going on right now is not the way that they're going to get him there. He needs one sort of John Cena leaping from his sort of, prototype thing in his first year or whatever in WWE main roster to, the Doctor of Thugonomics. He needs some sort of shift where the crowd, much like Seth these days, the crowd is going to be like, I know this guy's a bad guy, but I love to cheer him. That's where you want him.
Exactly.
And finding that is for a level that they want, that they expect him. It's clear they expect him to be a Cena, to be I don't know about a Rock.
I mean, he is in a lot of ways the new Roman Reigns. He's the guy that's
what you're going to see
is really smitten with and wants to push to the moon, but doesn't want to take the time to get him he doesn't want to take the time to develop his character, so the push comes organically. Well,
they're gonna.
If you want to book as a heel, then make him a heel that's interesting. So at first the crowd boos him, but as you said, the ideal is you develop a character with him that's interesting, that gets genuine heat, but is entertaining enough that people can start to enjoy his work. And by the time you're ready to have him cash in, that's when the crowd's ready to make that move.
Another reason why it's not that big of a risk is because I think it's a risk without him getting there first, because Rollins was there. Rollins, if I think a more apropos analogy would be Seth Rollins. They want him to be that and then take him to that next level. The thing about Rollins is that when he won it, he was there. He really was. Once he hit Dean and Roman with that chair, Seth knew he was there. The thing about Theory is that he's not there yet, but you got a year. You have an entire year to get him there, and we've seen it happen before. It's obviously not ideal for Money in the Bank, but if they don't see it within a couple months, within 6 months, within 9 months, they could take that thing right off him and put it in somebody else's hands.
Cody.
So I think that it's not, look, it's definitely not my preferred choice by any shot. Riddle would have been better. Sammy would have been better. Drew would have been kind of boring because he just would have done the Clash.
He would have cashed it at Clash.
But we all love Drew, and I'd love for Drew to win everything.
Seth would have been better.
Seth would have made a lot of sense. But also I think they're going to tell a pretty decent story with Seth without Money in the Bank. But we've already seen Seth be an amazing Money in the Bank guy. He'd be at that probably twice as much now. So I get it. I understand they see him as the future. I think he can be. I think one day we might be talking about that. And
that's
I think that
possible.
It's sometimes, maybe, hopefully, something organically will come creatively to him and I think it's funny because a lot of people on our chat, and I've seen a lot of people on internet, anecdotally speaking, say, hey, I like Theory. And I think it's more like, I like the potential of this guy. He has displayed a lot, even over the course of week after week. When he was in the segment with Lashley, what did we say? He needs to improv more. The next week, what did he do? He improv more. Yeah. I think the guy is probably a really hard worker. We know he has this. That's one thing. If we had only seen this guy on Raw during pandemic and then now, I wouldn't understand it. But given that we have seen him be so good in the way, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't like this, but I think that it can end up being good, as opposed to when Otis had it. Is like, what are they going to do with this? I'm not going to see this at all.
You're right. And that's why I kind of said it's maybe a year too soon. He's only been up in this current run on the main roster a short time, and he hasn't exactly developed that rapport with the audience where, they enjoy booing him, but at the same time, his work's good enough where they'll come around to cheering him at a certain point, and that's what you want for a major heel who's on the precipice of getting a massive push. The formula is there. We've seen it countless times.
I think that worst case, he ends up like, I don't know, The Miz, and they have him cash in too early. Now, I think that Austin Theory has a lot more to offer than The Miz.
Yeah.
I think we've already seen that. And so I do get the feeling that we're going to get something better than that. But they do need to tread carefully. If Vince thinks that this is a surefire thing and he can lazy his way through creative, that ain't the case. If you want another Cena, you're going to have that special breakthrough that the Doctor of Thugonomics had for Cena. You're going to need that for Theory. And maybe this briefcase win is too early because now you have it on a guy who, oh man, they might get itchy on pulling the trigger. What's he going to do? He's going to cash in on Roman? Like, I don't know how that's not going to be realistic. But so I don't know. It's going to be interesting. There's so many pieces. There are so many weird pieces right now in place. You got Cody coming back, I guess, in 9 months or 8 months or whatever. You got, so he should be ready by, I don't know, Rumble or Mania or whatever.
Yeah, Mania for sure, you'd think.
Mania for sure. You got Clash of the Castle coming up with Drew. You got Seth, just Seth. And now you got Austin with Money in the Bank. You also have sort of Riddle and Orton just waiting out there for, because they could easily pull. I think it's funny because Riddle's there now. That's the funny thing is that Riddle is the guy who's there now, the Money in the Bank could take him to that next level.
Exactly.
Whereas a year ago, that wouldn't have been the case.
Nope.
So
now it is.
Yeah.
Now it is.
And
it would have made a lot of sense if Riddle had gotten it. And then whether he cashes in or not before Orton comes back, there's a story there, which the story I thought they were going to tell at some point where Riddle is either champion or has an opportunity to become champion, and that ignites the fire within Randy, It's like, it's great palling around with you, Riddle, at the same time. What am I really here for? And he said that before, Randy had. We're here to win. We're here to win championships.
Yeah.
And if you got that championship and I don't, it's a thorn in my side. You're just sticking it to me.
Let me ask you this. This is a bit of a tangent here, but given that all these pieces are there, now we have another big piece, so it's not too much of a tangent. We've got the Money in the Bank. Is there any chance at this point now, with so many high-profile competitors waiting in the wings, that Roman doesn't hold those titles through WrestleMania next year? I mean, you got this last man standing match coming up.
Riddle can't challenge for the belt as long as Roman has it.
True.
Again, remember?
True.
That's that's out the window. We don't know how long Randy's going to be out. He could be out for the rest of the year. So you're going to have Drew. I mean, at the same time, too, you think, well, either there's a lot of options for Roman or maybe not that many.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if Orton's out, if Riddle's out. But if Roman's only going to wrestle at the major shows.
Yeah. SummerSlam, Survivor Series, maybe a
SummerSlam, Clash at the Castle. He'll do Survivor Series. Well, I mean, like Survivor Series, usually champ versus champ. He's got both belts.
Yeah.
I imagine he'll defend there. Rumble and then Mania. That's what, 5 shows?
He'll do a couple.
There's a Saudi show. There's a Saudi show.
He'll do a couple SmackDowns because they're gonna need that rating. I mean, that's one thing Meltzer was saying on radio. I guess was the reason that he's not doing Money in the Bank is because they don't need that money. They got Peacock money. They don't need him there. They need him for SmackDown because they have the TV deal. So I imagine, especially now with the deals coming up, in less than a couple of years,
negotiating period might open up next year.
Is gonna come up pretty soon. He'll do a couple SmackDowns, but yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of pieces in place over the next 18 months, is what I'm saying.
And given that Sami Zayn is now part of this bloodline story, at a certain point, Roman's going to sour on Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
If he hasn't already.
Yeah.
And so that's potential feud as well that we could see in the fall, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. I think a year is a long way. I mean, I don't know. Mm-hmm. If we have this last man standing, we're going to get a lot of teases because there's no way that you're going to have a last man standing match and not at least get a tease.
Exactly.
Coming up here at SummerSlam. But I don't know. Let me ask you this. Percentage chance that after that last man standing match, because that's with Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Austin Theory cashed in at SummerSlam.
Successfully?
What are the chances that Austin Theory has a failed cash in?
Higher than him doing it successfully at this juncture.
Yeah. Even after a last man standing match?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's too early. I mean, if it's too early, which is arguable, for him to win the belt, it's definitely too early for him to cash in. Definitely. Yeah, because, again, there hasn't been any sort of organic build with him yet.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about should they. I'm talking about will they. Because they don't care about that.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, they might look at that. People were booing the shit out of him tonight. They might look at that and be like, oh, yeah.
Like, oh, he's got heat. God damn it, pal.
God damn it, pal.
Instead of like, all right, why is this guy winning? There's more. Because I think the reason there were boos, and some of it might be heel heat, but part of it's just like, oh, Theory, really?
He got wrecked by Lashley tonight. That's the thing that, but I've never been a fan. I've never understood really the appeal of the chicken shit heel. Like, I get it to a degree, but somebody who, it's like, if you're not, there needs to be some. I mean, that was the thing about Seth Rollins. He would, you always felt like this guy could legitimately compete,
Yeah.
It's like he was crafty and he would win being crafty. He would win. That's the best guy. If you're going to do the chicken shit heel thing, have him be really crafty, not just, a guy who shouldn't even be in the ring with Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
Because he got manhandled tonight.
Yeah, he got wrecked by Lashley.
He got wrecked.
A couple other things to touch on before we get to the breakdown of the show. There was a vignette that played that got a lot of people talking.
Yeah, man.
Because it had a very Bray Wyatt type vibe.
Yeah.
That was the first thing that popped in our head. But there's a lot of Easter eggs in there. There's the Latino Heat license plate. There is Jeff Hardy's arm sleeves, Bubba Ray's glasses, Kurt Angle's gold medal. Mm-hmm. And so we were kind of half joking on our watch along stream. Well, is this a kind of like a roundabout oblique trailer for Ruthless Aggression Season 2?
Yeah.
And then, you go to social media, a lot of people are talking about Edge. Now Edge is getting a repackaged now that he's done with the Judgment Day thing. Or we can get edgy Ruthless Aggression throwback Edge.
Yeah. It seems like it. He's be wearing a bunch of red or whatever. I don't know. I mean,
go back to the Rated R Superstar logo and all that stuff.
There was some really cool design work on his gimmicks and stuff. It'll be interesting. I don't know. Edge is sort of doing this thing where he's overwritten. He overwrites himself. I just get that feeling that it's either Edge or Edge in a WWE writer in a room somewhere, and his promos are quite verbose, and he comes out, and so he's at a point in his career maybe he can look back and say, hey, I tried to usher in a new generation with the Judgment Day, and then they turned on me. So I'm there's no country for old men, I guess. Maybe that's going to be his thing. You know what, man? The one thing that I've appreciated, even through Judgment Day being awful, was the man is no stranger to reinvention. Yep. And maybe the next one, maybe whatever this is, will hit. I'm willing to give it a shot because he's putting the effort into reinvention. Did Judgment Day suck? Yeah. Does Judgment Day suck now? Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, he did something new. It wasn't just same old Edge coming out with his Jordans and his Queens of the Stone Age shirts, cutting promos. It was something new. And so, I like the production value on this. Him shouting out the past, I think is a cool idea. So, I'm
interested to see where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to, as long as he keeps on grabbing that chair brace and putting people in the deal, which we're going to see at SummerSlam, he's going to do that to Finn Balor.
Yeah, he is going to do that, Finn. He's going to put Finn in the deal.
He's going to put him in the deal.
He's going to put him in the deal.
That's right. Otherwise, I thought Money in the Bank was fine. I love these short pay-per-views. They make me happy.
They do.
There's some good wrestling on it, too.
Yeah, shout out to one of, if not the match of the night, Usos versus Street Profits.
Yeah.
They gave this match a ton of time.
Had a hell of a build and a killer payoff, yeah.
Wow, did they deliver?
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal bout.
Yeah.
Go out of your way to check it out.
Yeah. Really good stuff.
It was really, really good. Exceptional. Absolutely exceptional.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp Online Therapy. Steve, burnout is usually associated with work, but any of life's roles can leave you feeling overwhelmed and burned out without you really realizing it.
That is true, Larson. So if you're experiencing fatigue, irritability, or a lack of motivation, you could be dealing with burnout. And BetterHelp wants to remind you to prioritize yourself. And talking to someone can help you find out what's causing the stress in your life.
Yeah, I've been there before. There have been times in my life where I wasn't taking enough time for myself, where I was feeling overwhelmed by life. So I felt that fatigue, that lack of motivation, that irritability that comes with burnout. And I've gone through the process of trying to find a therapist, so I know how difficult it can be to find the right person to talk to. But BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to.
It's also much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. And right now, Going In Raw listeners can get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/raw. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
Before we get back to the show, let's get a word from our sponsor, Athletic Greens. You know me, Steve. I'm always on the lookout for ways to get more energy and improve my gut health. And now that I've started taking AG1, I'm getting 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start my day off right.
Athletic Greens is the one thing with the best things. It uses the best of the best products based on the latest science to support your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, sleep, mental clarity, and aging. Plus, it contains less than 1 gram of sugar and has no artificial anything, no gross chemicals, and no GMOs.
Yeah, I make myself a serving of AG1 first thing in the morning before I eat breakfast, and I've noticed that my gut health has improved and my energy has gone up, and it's been a breeze to work into my daily routine. And whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, AG1 could fit into your lifestyle, and it costs less than $3 a day.
Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health.
To make it easy, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/raw. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/raw to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
So let's talk about the details here. So women's Money in the Bank ladder match kicked off the show. We figured it would, given that there were 2 title matches up for cash-ins, and that's exactly what happened. I thought this was a killer match. I thought they did a great job. Lots of really brutal moments here and there. I thought Shotzi had a really good moment, had a lot of good moments in this. she was taking a lot of nasty bumps and doling some out. I thought there was a lot to like about this match, dude.
Yeah, there was. Becky had some amazing, seemingly Loki-inspired ring gear.
Holy moly.
And as soon as Liv Morgan made her entrance, you could pretty much tell she was going to win because she was holding back tears of joy.
It really, one look at her face.
It was ultimate win face.
And we always have to go back to this moment when we doubt ourselves on, is there a win face or not a win face? What we saw tonight was total win face. It did, in fact, look like she had been crying or was on the precipice.
Yeah. Oh, they definitely looked like there were tears.
Yeah.
And maybe it was a situation where she learned at that moment, not only you winning Money in the Bank, you're cashing in on Ronda.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's huge.
I hope they do. They
huge.
need to bring back. Do they still do those 24s? The documentaries?
No, I don't think they've done those in a while. But this is a moment here that definitely would deserve a documentary.
Maybe they had some cameras backstage. We'll get that on the .com.
I hope so. I hope so. We could get something. So down towards the finish, Raquel sets up a ladder between the announce table and the apron. She's looking to powerbomb Asuka through it. So Asuka counters with the triangle. Raquel powers her up to try to powerbomb her again, and then Becky boots Raquel, and then Asuka just lands perfectly on the ladder. So Becky moves this huge ladder closer, and then hits a leg drop senton type thing onto Asuka. And so a bunch of ladders are set up in the ring. You got Shotzi, Alexa, Lacey, and Raquel, and they're all brawling on them. Becky gets in. She pushes both the ladders over. She climbs the one in the middle. Liv runs in, sets up a ladder. Her and Becky brawl. Eventually, there's this great spot where Becky's pushing Liv's ladder over, and Liv sticks her foot out against the top rope and pushes herself back up. It was great.
The coordination on that is nuts.
Yeah,
she honestly,
it was nuts.
You took the most of it at the beginning here, but I echo everything you said about Liv Morgan. She obviously has been working her ass off. She's become quite creative in the ring. She's obviously put everything she has into this. Her promos are better. Her in-ring work is really good these days. So I'm very glad that she's champion. I just really hope that they give her a solid title run where she can beat big names. That's the thing they never do. If you're a horsewoman, you're not going to get beat by basically anybody except for maybe Asuka. Like they just really, or Ronda. They just don't.
Or Bianca.
Oh, or Bianca. Yeah, Bianca, sorry. So there's three people. So hopefully, ideally, right, Liv will advance to become a Bianca, to become an Asuka, to become the other person, Ronda.
We got a count out coming up on the 4th, on Monday, about Money in the Bank cash-ins that didn't necessarily go so well, whether it be the moment of the cash-in or just the story or the build or the follow-through, whatever. And there's countless instances there of cash-ins. I mean, we just saw it last year with Nikki ASH, where they had a gimmick, a character for her that had the potential to be money.
Yeah, it did.
Huge.
Yeah.
And if they had told the story right and taken their time, that could have been, Nikki ASH could have been a massive star for the company. They didn't. They had her cash in the night after for the ratings pop. And then, I don't know, by SummerSlam, she lost the belt back to Charlotte. And sure, she was tag champ, but nothing came close to the momentum she had leading up to and right after her Money in the Bank cash in. And it's a bummer to see that, because you see these these wrestlers who are immensely talented, who have hit on something and you can tell, this could work. Yeah. This could really work. This could take them places. And for whatever reason, creatively, Vince, they just don't know how to put it together. And especially Liv, after all the work she's put in, you don't want to see her win here and then lose the belt to Charlotte at SummerSlam. It's deflating.
It's deflating not just for the wrestler, but for the fans, because you and I are big Nikki Cross fans, and she was obvious. She put a ton of work into that gimmick, into making it work. And you and I both agree she could have been like a Make-A-Wish wrestler, Like, goddamn, that's like perfect. That's what you're trying to get. That's what you're aiming to get all the time. That merch, they should have had merch day one and selling it. And they just treated it like dude, because they didn't want her to legitimately be on par with Charlotte. And it's like, I think Charlotte's terrific, but you got to build some people up. You lost one of the horsewomen, unless she decides to come back. Becky's probably in a couple of years going to have a couple feet out to Hollywood. Charlotte's probably going to be a lifer. She's going to be around for a long time, but it's one person,
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, the way Bayley wrestles, she leaves it all out there. She's coming back from a year off from injury. You got to build up some of these stars, and Nikki Cross was the person. Hopefully they see that as well in Liv Morgan. I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. So getting back to the finish, so her and Becky are brawling on the ladders. She kicks Becky off, gets the briefcase. Cool moment.
Yeah, it was a cool moment, yeah. After that, we had Bobby Lashley versus Theory. Every time I bet against Bobby Lashley, Larson seems to not go my way. And I thought for sure, given that the go-home math was all about Bobby Lashley, it's going to be very interesting, whether it's Sean or Dave Meltzer or whoever, when Austin Theory was decided, because that probably plays into this match. Something tells me they decided on Theory sometime between Raw and today. Hell, between Friday and today even.
It could be. Or, we don't give WWE a lot of credit for forward planning, but maybe this is something they had thought of weeks in advance. I don't know.
I'll bet you $1. And bragging rights. This happened. This was decided sometime between Friday night.
It's entirely possible.
Today.
It's entirely possible. I mean, it could be a situation where it's like, well, what are we gonna do? We could do this. We could do this. We'd have Theory put him in last minute, and then it's probably one of those things where like there's like 5 ideas on the table, and maybe last minute they're like, yeah, let's go with this one. I don't know.
I wonder if it was one of those things. I wonder if it was one of those things where they wanted it to be and they weren't sure about it, and Vince sort of waffles on things, and then at the last second he's like, you know what, fuck it, put Theory in the match, have him drop the U.S. title, have him look weak and tap out to Bobby Lashley. That's the thing I think that's the thing that gets me, is like, I want, as a fan, I need to know that at least my the champion is strong enough to be able to figure out how not to get in the hurt lock and immediately tap,
Yeah.
And I know, look, I'm not saying let's make Lashley look weak. Lashley's great. He probably should have been in Money in the Bank tonight. But I don't know, man. I just, if your character, if the character they are designing for you, Seth had it. And he'd find ways to wriggle out of situations like the Hurt Lock, and he took on plenty of losses, but he found ways to win. I mean, hell, even at the WrestleMania he wrestled at, but that was the greatest. That was the greatest RKO in history.
Yeah,
in history.
Yep.
Oh my God,
it was amazing. So White Brownie just sent us on Twitter. This is from Wrestling Inc. So apparently, it's a video of Baron Corbin attacking Pat McAfee after the show, and then celebrated with Theory.
Well, that's the guy you want to put with.
Exactly. You want to get Theory over, you put him with Baron Corbin.
No. Oh no. So anyways,
I feel like we might get a repeat of 2017 if Theory is going to get into a feud with John Cena.
Oh no, you might be right about that. See, you hear them? They don't care about you. We're just doing a bunch of moves. So we got to watch that again on Smash Zone, man.
Oh, that was so
scene
good.
Of this,
so good.
I could watch that again. Lashley dominates this match.
Yeah,
he's throwing Theory all over the place. Theory gets some shit off here and there, but he's dominating this stuff. And in the end, he gets caught. I think he was trying to get the
A-Town down
on him. Yeah.
And then, Theory even thumbs Lashley in the eye and hits him with a spear before he looks for A-Town down.
That would have been a perfect moment for him to win. And yeah, I'm advocating for Theory to win, because what if he wins that U.S. title? Then it's like, I'm thinking, man, he's not stopping here. That's actually a good character beat. He's not stopping. He's on the phone with McMahon. I want to be in that ladder match.
Yeah. Yep.
Makes it a little bit more palatable. He's like, oh, this guy is a player. This guy is a threat.
So then, Theory's looking for his finish. Lashley reverses that into the Hurt Lock, and Theory taps out within seconds. Bobby Lashley, your new U.S. champ. Then we got a Liv Morgan interview, and she essentially says, this is really important. I don't want to mess up my cash-in because I only get one opportunity at it. Yeah. And so at the time, I think we were both thinking, it's like, oh, she's going to kind of hem and haw. She's going to go to a situation where she thinks it's right and then be like, maybe this isn't it.
Well, I figured,
and so we're going to get a lot of teasing of cash-ins. That's what I was expecting.
I figured like that would have been like worst case for me. Like don't do that stuff. Like, it would not shock me if they did that. But I've honestly figured Charlotte was going to come. I would not have been surprised if Charlotte came back tonight, completely destroyed Ronda Rousey, and then Liv knew, okay. But I like the way they did it because Ronda was still game. She was like, oh, man, that I just got wrecked, but okay, let's do this. And she almost had Liv on that cash, and we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, that interview made it sound like she was not going to cash in anytime soon.
Yeah.
After that, we had Carmella versus Bianca Belair. This was a fine enough match. I've always been a big fan of Carmella. She's another person who's just put in a lot of work, and whatever they give her, she runs with it. She can be a legitimate title contender, or she can be R-Truth sidekick. She can kind of do it all.
Yeah, she's a really versatile performer. Yeah. This match wasn't terribly competitive. Bianca dominated vast majority of it. Carmella got some stuff in towards the finish, hits her with a super kick. Tries for a couple of rolls before that, one of them with feet on the rope, gets 2 counts in all of them, and then Bianca just decks her with the forearm, hits a KOD to get the win, and then afterwards they tease you with this. So after the match, Carmella like hits Bianca a couple times and then leaves. You're like, oh,
ooh,
is this where Liv's going to come cash in?
Because
then it's like, okay, it's like 4 punches. No, that's not enough to.
Because Liv's a Raw competitor, so you just think, okay, maybe she's going to stick with her own brand.
Yeah. But then, like, Carmella leaves and Bianca gets right back up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Then we got a Logan Paul training / signing with WWE video package here.
The thing that I loved about this is that they do this one, they do a Cody one, and I think they did like a one. I don't know if they did another one for somebody else, but it was like, oh, is Logan Paul going to be in Money in the Bank? Is Cody going to be in Money in the Bank? Everybody's going to. Who's this guy in the weird vignette? Is he going to be in Money in the Bank? Is the weird shadow Bray Wyatt guy going to be in Money in the Bank?
Yeah, no. Ends up no.
Oh, they did one for Owens. Yeah, Amanda Tuck said they did one for Kevin Owens too.
Yeah.
Is he going to be in Money in the Bank?
They had the video package for Miz.
Miz, they did the Miz one.
Yep.
That's right, yeah.
Then we got what I thought was going to be like a backstage bit between Alexa Bliss and Lily. And it kind of was. However, it was also a credit card commercial.
Yeah, it was like 24.99% APR, and that it's
those pair of tiny roller skates that Lily apparently bought.
Is it a faux pas? Is it bad practice for them to push the black card, not the red card?
How so?
I don't know. Just asking a question. Because
the red card was like the star at first, right?
Yeah. Why did the red card get demoted?
Maybe they did some. I don't know.
Is there a blue card?
No, there's pink. It's the other one.
Oh, come on. Give me the pink card.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe pink card will be next month. They're just giving everybody time to shine.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe they're rotating through the roster there.
Okay, that makes sense. Gold card. Gold card. WWE gold card. Fool's gold. Anyways.
Yeah, you got that right. Well, it wasn't fool's gold this next match. This next match was gold. Usos versus Street Profits. Brilliant bout.
Oh, this is a good point. Jorge says, oh, this is fucking great. But hold on a second. Jorge says black cards are more elite than the credit card. Well, that's totally true.
That is true.
But this is also WWE. They shouldn't have a black card. Black card's too good for them. Yeah. Anyways, this is a phenomenal bout. They built it in a pace that really took advantage of like the finish because it was a methodical match going. It's like, what are they doing? This isn't typically what they do. It's a bit more heavy on, the storytelling and the plotting and the methodical pace. But then once it got going, oh boy, it got going.
Yeah. I mean, this match was long enough and they paced it, as you mentioned, methodically, that there was both sequences where both Dawkins and Ford were isolated for stretches by the Usos. Like, to kick off the match, basically, Dawkins hits a spine buster. Ford tags in. He goes up top looking for the frog splash. Jimmy rolls out of the ring. And after that, there's just long stretches where the Usos are dominating. So, down towards the finish, the Street Profits hit the Doomsday Blockbuster. Jay kicks out of that. He and Dawkins start trading some punches. The Street Profits are looking for another Doomsday Blockbuster. Jimmy breaks that up. He sends Dawkins into the post. Usos hit stereo super kicks on Ford. That get him a 2 count. Ford then sends both Usos out of the ring, hits that tope over the ring post. It's incredible. He puts Jay back in. He tags in Dawkins. And the Dawkins tags Ford back in. Dawkins hits the spine buster. Ford follows with the frog splash. You think they got it.
Yeah.
Jimmy slides in to break up the pin.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the finish, Usos hit Ford with stereo super kicks, followed with a 3D to get the win. However, commentary mentions this first, and they show the replay twice where Ford's shoulder was up because when I think Jimmy pinned him, he was like grabbing him by his tricep and pulling his arm up.
Yeah.
So Ford's shoulder was up.
So a lot of the times you see the ref and they do this right before they make the pin, and it's sort of a reminder, hey, get your shoulder down. Didn't do that in this case. And afterwards, they made a big deal about it.
So story beat.
Ford and Dawkins were pretty upset about it. He said, Ford even, the camera was on him and one of the mics was kind of hot in the air. And he says, what happened to that fucking match or something like that? He dropped he said, fuck it, which is pretty great.
There were stretches of this match too where it seemed like they were building to maybe a breakup for the Street Profits, because there was this one stretch where Ford was isolated by the Usos, and I think Dawkins had gotten super kicked off the apron, and Dawkins was selling on the floor forever.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Forever. And Ford was going to there trying to get the hot tag, and Dawkins just wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even in the build-up, I know we haven't really talked about SmackDown or anything, but on SmackDown, Kayla in their face-to-face thing, the summit, whatever they called it, had said, hey, there's new rumors out there that you guys aren't really getting along to the Street Profits. And like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So, it's all just part of the story, I guess. Or kayfabe and Fightful Select, I guess.
I guess so.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, this, what is this going to lead to to another match, or is this going to be like Tez just being upset with everything and turning on Dawkins?
It could be both.
Yeah.
It could be Montez being upset about stuff, leading to another match, and eventually it just kind of all blows up.
I will say this, so it's sort of eyeing this from the perspective of a fan of the professional wrestling. If you're Montez Ford, and you're down, and your shoulder's up, but the ref starts counting, don't you try to actually do a kick out at 2? Because your shoulder's up. Like, move so that he knows what's going on.
I'm trying to remember the exact nature of the pin.
In this match, he didn't budge.
No, I know, but I'm saying, but with Jimmy having his hand on pulling his tricep up like this already, where his shoulders off the mat, I don't know how much leverage he would necessarily have to yank it up even further. That's my point.
They wouldn't do the thing where he just sort of moves a little bit and the other guy jumps off him like most pins.
No, because I'm sure they wanted to make this subtle from a story perspective.
I know. Anyways, after that, we had that mystery video package, which was very Bray Wyatt-ish. But Bray's sitting at home. He's like, what are they doing, man? It's still my shit.
My gimmick, man.
That's my shit, man. It's the spooky editing, man. Yeah. Anyways, well, here we go. What is this? Mary Planet Houston says, in kayfabe, he's too hurt to do anything else. Well, then you're losing the match, man. Then that's it. Natalia versus Ronda Rousey was next.
This was a fun match. It was technical.
Cool. Yeah, it's catches like Hackenschmidt versus Gotch or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A lot of mat-based wrestling.
Farmer Burns.
Moves and counter moves.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Natalia's gear looked amazing, too, by the way.
Yeah.
Ronda's looked like she made hers 10 minutes before the match started.
Especially down towards the finish, there's a bunch of jockeying for position. Sharpshooter, no. Armbar, no. Ankle lock. But in the end, so Ronda's looking for the armbar. Natalia reverses that into a sharpshooter attempt. However, Ronda blocks it, looking for an ankle lock. But then Natalia tries to reverse that into a sharpshooter. But then Ronda actually reverses that into kind of like an armbar. So she's on the mat with her back on the ground, and Natalia's standing up. But Ronda has the armbar, but also has her feet kind of like around Natalia's neck. Mm-hmm. So Natalia taps out, but Ronda had been putting a sharpshooter on the apron earlier, and so she's limping around.
Yeah.
And so Liv, like her music hits, she comes to the ring, and they get a shot on Ronda. She just goes, shit.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good reaction.
It was a good reaction. That's right.
Go ahead.
Ronda got a sharpshooter on Natalia and did the Shawn Michaels pose too.
That was awesome. That was great.
Great.
During Natalia's entrance, she did the Bret Hart sunglasses thing to a little kid. Yeah, no, I really like this match. I thought even Ronda's little interview on SmackDown, on Friday. I think that being in this feud with Natalya, she just feels more comfortable because they're friends.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that plays a lot into it, as opposed, and it's like, I know she's champion, but it's also like not the highest profile thing going on right now. Whereas in the past, the spotlight has been squarely on her. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult, maybe. But she seems a little bit more comfortable. This is a fun match. It seemed like they were having a lot of fun doing it. So Liv runs to the ring. Ronda says, shit. So she cashes in, the bell rings. She runs right into an ankle lock. Immediately, Ronda catches her, and she's in the middle of that ring trying not to tap out for what seems like forever. Eventually, Liv is able to boot free and then rolls Ronda up for the win. And then Ronda, understanding, hey, that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, gives her the belt, lifts her arm, gives her a hug, and then lets her take the moment.
Yeah, I would expect Ronda to be taking a bit of a leave from WWE for a while. I don't know if it's going to be till Rumble, Mania, don't know.
Tiger here says, I love this too, because today, of course, is Bret Hart's birthday, and they reference the HBK put him in the sharpshooter.
Yeah, I know.
It was a low point from my career, that. And, of course, anything that had to do with Goldberg. After that, we had men's Money in the Bank match. I would have won this if I was in it. All right, that's enough. That's enough. So anyways, before the match starts, everybody comes out. Everybody looks great. Pierce walks to the ramp before the match starts. We're like, oh, here we go. He says, hey, everybody. Oh, we're having a great time, aren't we? This guy's in the match. And Theory comes out.
Yeah. He says, we have 7 men in this match, and I'm going to raise you. I was like, is he going to put 7 more people in here?
Yeah, right? Yeah, man. Double up.
Just Theory. Just Theory.
Send out the Miz. Send out Otis.
Send out Otis. Yeah, he just raised Theory. So Amos is just wrecking everybody to start. And then until Drew claymores him out of the ring, and then Amos is selling that for a while. But, everybody else gets their stuff in. Riddle at one point hits a floating bro off the top of the ladder, and that was not a small ladder.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah.
That was huge. And then Amos gets back in. He starts wrecking everybody again. Hits Theory with his finish, and then Sheamus boots him. Sammy hits him with a haluva kick. Riddle then puts him in a triangle. Moss tosses him out of the ring. Drew headbutts him. Seth stomps him on the apron. He says, hey, everybody, let's powerbomb him through the announce table. And then they all do that.
He deputized him, Larson. He deputized him into the Shield.
So it's Roman, it's Dean, it's Seth, it's Kurt Angle, and then everybody else in this match except the Moss.
Right, exactly. Yes, they're all honorary Shield members.
And so Amos gets put through the table. I don't think we see him again. And then Drew and Sheamus have this bit where Drew pins Sheamus under the ladder. He goes up the climb. Butch runs out, gets on his back. Eventually, Sheamus hits Drew with the bro kick, and then he pins Drew under the ladder. And he's reaching for the briefcase, and Drew's powering the ladder up to knock Sheamus off. But however, there's a ladder behind Sheamus set up in the corner, and Sheamus took a nasty bump when Riddle hit that floating bro off the ladder.
He took the majority
right
of
in
that
the back
bump.
of his neck.
It was ugly,
he's got a bad neck, so eventually Drew claymores Butch. He climbs. Sheamus gets back up. So they're climbing opposite sides of the ladder. Sammy pushes that ladder over. He climbs. Moss pushes him off. Seth then pushes over the ladder on Moss, hits him with a stomp. He climbs. And then Riddle sets up a ladder next to Seth. Eventually that leads to an RKO off the ladder. Riddle gets back up to climb. Theory slides back in the ring. He and Riddle brawl. Eventually Theory pushes him off, gets the briefcase. He's Mr. Money in the Bank.
He is Mr. Money in the Bank. I hope it ends up for the best, man. I'm pulling for the guy. I really am. It's just we see how, number one, we see how rare it is for a guy to reach all those heights. I will say this, that's a lot of pressure. To be Vince's guy is a lot of pressure.
It is.
And he does seem to be doing everything they want him to do to the best of his ability.
But in the case of Cena, he had to do something. He had to take that chance. He had to do something that they probably didn't ask him to do.
Yeah.
You know, and then he finally found that connection with the audience. And if they have those type of hopes and aspirations for Theory, something like, and you mentioned that before, something like that needs to happen. And it took them a lot of years and eventual heel turn for them to finally get to that point with Roman, you know? Yeah. And my understanding is Roman said, I'm not going to come back unless I can do this.
Yeah.
You know, and granted he had the stroke at that point to do that. But yeah, it definitely feels like at this juncture, if Theory really wants to take it to the next level from a performance and a character perspective, he's got to take a chance, or they got to find something to take a chance on him with. I don't know what it is though.
Yeah.
Because if he starts doing the way stuff on the main roster, it'd be entertaining, but they might just think, well, he's a character, he's a comedy guy now, you know?
Yeah, I mean, dude, honestly, it's a matter of some of it is honestly, some of it there's a bit of presentation there, you know? Instead of showing up in your wrestling gear all the time, which by the way, his is pretty generic. You know, if you're going to cut a promo, do what The Rock used to do. Show up in a nice shirt and some slack, you know, your $500 shirt.
Wear a suit, something.
You're Mr. Money in the Bank. Some of it is presentation. Some of it is maybe say no to taking selfies all the damn time.
Yeah.
Because again,
that
sort
of
of
get away
feeds
from
in,
that gimmick.
It feeds into the one-dimensional aspect. I mean, tell him to take it off his fucking Tron. Like, you don't want to. That's too much of a gimmick. And there's, I don't know. I think there are definite steps you can take. And I don't know. Hey, you know what, man? Maybe some of it'll be if Theory runs up against the bloodline and Theory is sort of forced into being a face, maybe the crowd will go along with that. Maybe some of it is going to be story based and it's going to force his character to evolve based on the stories that they're telling with him. Because he does at this point, let's be honest, like we talked about, he's got some odds against him on a successful cash in. And if they make a story out of his eventual cash in where Roman immediately is like, hey, buddy, you got this briefcase. Don't get any hot ideas. In theory, at that point, maybe people will be like, oh, what's he going to do now? And then they got to figure that out. So I think even there's some storyline ways you can add dimension to his character. And I hope they do. I really hope they do because I like Austin Theory. I think that he's good. I think that he has all the potential and I want to see him succeed. Anyways, that's going to do it for us today. There was one other. Oh yeah. I just want to point this out. Delaney Demand here in chat, who I think also made a point that you had echoed earlier, said this: Amos was pretty fun in this match, especially for a guy people said had no place in this match. That's totally true. You know, for as limited as Amos can be in the ring, I've always kind of liked what he does with his character when he's given a little bit. And yeah, he did everything he was supposed to do in this match, and taking that bump from all those dudes, that was a rough bump.
That was. You
got to give the guy credit for coming through in this match and doing everything that he should have done. He's sort of the new Braun in that respect, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, so he had his role to play in this match, and he did it well.
He did. Everybody did it. Everybody did their role well in this match.
Yeah. When he had to go in there and lay everybody out, he was convincing. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks so much for hanging out with us during the show. Thanks to the Enforcer, as always, for hanging out with us earlier during the watch-along. If you're listening to this in the audio realm, do us a huge favor. Leave us a rating, review, or comment. If you're watching this on the YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Do the other thing, the notify bell. That's right.
Yeah, that thing too.
Yeah, that thing too. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Check out one of these other videos here. Till next time, we'll see you over there.
Bye.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Stone Cold Steve Austin impersonator Phil McDonald, here to tell you to go support Going In Raw and Friendo Club at patreon.com/Steven Larson. They got bonus episodes, ad-free audio, a weekly newsletter rounding up the week in wrestling news, and a bunch more. Patreon.com/Steven Larson. Go support or get hit with a stunner.